Welcome back to Be the One podcast, and so excited today to have two seniors with us and our head prefects, Hank Wylie and Ankita Nukala. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, well, really excited because I'm eager to hear about a lot of different things about what you all do sort of as part of your Brookstone experience. But let's start just from the very beginning. How did you end up here at Brookstone, and what's your story along the way? Ankita, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I'm a Brookstone lifer.
Wow.
So I've been here since kindergarten. So if you count all the years, I've been here for the last 13, which doesn't feel like that much time has passed, but it's really been a great experience here at Brookstone, and I've really loved every year coming here, and it's been amazing.
So you're born in Columbus.
I was born in India.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Okay.
and my family moved here when I was like 2.
Okay.
And then, I was in like daycare until like I was 6, and then I started going to Brookstone.
Yeah.
Here.
And do you have siblings?
Yes, I have an older brother.
Did he also go here?
He went to Columbus High.
Okay.
So
Okay. So you're the only one.
Yes.
Yeah. Has that been weird for you and your brother to talk about your experiences together?
They've definitely been different. Like his high school experience was very different from mine because he was in a class of like 200 kids, and our grade is like 70 kids, which is a totally different story. But he had a great experience at Columbus. I think he liked having a lot of people there. I definitely like having smaller class sizes. So I think it was just a good fit for both of us.
Yeah. Well, looking back, and you probably have done more of that this year than ever before, looking back on your 13 years.
Yeah.
What are some of the highlights of your time here at Brookstone? What do you remember? What are some fond memories?
Ooh, I would definitely say like any of the sports events, like at football games or at tennis matches. Anytime we're like all together. Other than that, like school trips, I remember a lot. Like I remember in 3rd grade going to the aquarium, which was really fun. And in 10th grade, spring break, we went to the Galapagos, which was incredible.
Yeah.
It was such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So I definitely remember those.
Did in 3rd grade? I think they still take that 3rd grade trip actually. To the
I think
aquarium.
so. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's terrific. So you mentioned sports.
Yes.
So what if in your time here at Brookstone, what sports have you played?
I've been playing tennis for the last 6 years, and I've been on the varsity team for the last 4 years. Playing tennis is like it's been the best times here at Brookstone. I really love my team. I love getting to play at practices and matches and getting to travel places to play. And it's really been great. I loved getting to know Miss Tote a little bit better as a coach, and I'm excited for this year.
I want to get back to that because I'm excited to hear about it. So before we leave you and go to Hank, what other activities besides the prefect? We'll get to the prefect stuff also. What other activities you've been involved in your time here, and not only in the high school but even outside of the high school?
Yeah, so like Hank and I are head prefects, so that's been a big part. I'm also a part of the Science Olympiad team here, and so our competition is actually in a couple weeks.
Oh, good.
So we're preparing for that.
Oh, good. How many people are on that team?
I would say like 12 or 13.
Oh, wow, big.
So,
That's great.
Yeah. It's really fun though, and getting to like participate in the competition, it's really fun. And last year we were actually able to go to the state competition, and we did really well there.
Nice.
So
that's great. Who's the faculty advisor to that?
Ms. DeQuatro.
Mr. Quattro. Got it.
She's doing a really good job with
I'm
organizing.
Sure I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
Is it hard, or is it what's that experience like? I mean, that feels to me like something that'd be really hard.
It's definitely a lot of work. Like I usually do anatomy and physiology as an event, and that takes like a lot of studying and a lot of time to go over the material, but it's actually really interesting. And I'm actually taking anatomy as a class this year.
Cool. Yeah.
So I'm learning everything I need for Science Olympiad in that class, which has been really helpful. But it's honestly just really fun getting to know more information and getting to get with your partner and kind of learning it together. So
anatomy and physiology as an event.
Yes.
Kind of like the 100-yard dash.
Yeah, kind of.
So what is it? Explain to me how that works.
Yeah, so that one is a test-based event. So at the competition, me and my partner will get a test, and you have to study 3 systems of the body. So this year it's the integumentary system, the muscular system, and the skeletal system.
Oh, wow.
So you basically have to know a bunch of facts about it, be able to label the parts, and yeah.
Wow.
You get to take a test.
That is very hard. That's harder than running 100 meters.
I don't know.
You started studying for the MCAT in 12th
Basically,
grade.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's right.
Basically.
Well, now we don't want to leave Hank out of this interview,
Yeah.
so I want to get to Hank now. But thank you, Ankita.
Yeah.
That's a great journey you've been on in the last 13 years. It's exciting. Hank, what about you? I know you haven't been here for 13 years.
Yeah, no, sir, I haven't. So I'm a military family, or I'm a military kid. I was born in Monterey, California, and then moved to New York, North Carolina, Kansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, Germany, and then a host of other places down the line. But it's ended up totaling at about 10 places. Wow. But I was very fortunate to move to Columbus my 8th grade year, where I attended St. Luke for a year. Mm-hmm. And then through the honor scholarship program, and after tours, and my sister went here for her senior year, so I had a little bit of familiarity with Brookstone. Okay. I decided to come here for high school, which is an amazing choice.
Yeah, how hard was that?
I think I had like I said, I'd been to 9 different schools throughout my childhood. So the switching school aspect wasn't difficult, but I will say this is definitely the most the most different school environment that I've been in. So I'd been through Department of Defense schools, DoDEA schools, for most of my life, and these were a lot bigger. Upwards of 300 class sizes, or even the middle school I went to before I came here was about 600 kids.
Wow.
In my grade, and probably about 2,000 to the school total.
Wow.
And all public schools too, so a different fit. But I did have a little bit of a taste of a private school in my 8th grade year before I came here.
Yeah, sure.
But it's definitely, I've gotten to see everything, which has been really cool, which makes me appreciate the best parts of Brookstone even more, coming from, just like I said, just having a taste of everything. Yeah.
Tell me what those best parts of Brookstone are. You got me intrigued.
Yeah, I would definitely say community is the really big thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at really big schools, like I said, at the school, for example, that I was at before in Pennsylvania, where there's about 600 kids, it's really easy to become just another face in a sea of people. But when you're at Brookstone, I mean, you are interacting with people who are so invested in you and really care about what you're up to every day. And I mean, that's such a unique experience to hear. I mean, I've built relationships with my teachers and peers that are unlike anywhere else I've been. And I'm so thankful for that. I mean, and I think also just the nature of relationships with our teachers is so much different, whereas all my other schools, they have 30 kids in a class, 35. So, understandably, they don't have a lot of time that they can devote to me because they're having to do so much with other kids. So my relationship with them is purely transactional. I show up to class, I try and learn my best, they give me a grade, we leave. But here like I said, I've made some lifelong friends. I mean, I just came from, talking to Dr. Harkey about his favorite book before this, and
what book is that? No, I don't want to ask that.
Yeah.
Probably a longer answer than I would want.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
But
keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Okay. So, Ankita, well, let me ask you this question, and I'm going to go back to you about this too. I mean, you have a really different skill set by being and living in 10 different places in your life. How does that those skills that you've developed over the course of your youth, how does that manifest here at Brookstone? What do you bring to the community that's unique?
Absolutely, yes, sir. So I think the 2 biggest things that I would say I've gained from this experience of having moved so much is resiliency and social skills, which are 2, really important things that I'm really grateful for. But obviously with my dad's career being so crazy and him being deployed a lot, especially in some dangerous situations sometimes, it just adds a lot of stress to your life, especially, as I look back, especially with my mom and, other things, trying to manage life, all that was going on.
Can't imagine.
Or moving, I was always a new kid for 9 years straight.
Yeah.
And so you're placed in some difficult situations, whether it's, maybe the school I moved to just has a coach that doesn't like me for some reason. And, I'm fighting to get playing time on the basketball team, or, just me and this one teacher maybe just aren't working out for some reason. And I'm having a hard time in that class. And there's just, some unfortunate situations that you can fall into when you're going into the unknown of a new place. So I learned to be resilient, and I've learned to, control as much as I can. And like I said, just be strong in all the situations that I'm in. But because of that, I've been forced to have some really good social skills. And this is definitely the best thing that I've learned because I'm naturally really introverted, which surprises a lot of people because
I don't believe that
yeah,
for
I
a
don't
second.
believe
no,
that
exactly.
either.
That's
No
crazy.
way.
Like the
Because
opposite.
even as soon as I go home, I love my family, but I don't talk at all. I go in my corner, I play my guitar, I keep to myself. Except for dinner, I'll make some conversations, but I have to recharge and be by myself. But because I've learned that it's really easy to kind of be involved and make an impact at a school by being social, just by interacting, from creating relationships. And, being forced to make friends and friend groups has, enriched my experiences at different places. So, I've learned how to have conversation with people. And I've learned that that's one of the best, things about each place was building relationships with these unique groups of people. And so, yeah, surprising, although it seems crazy that I'm introverted, I'm an introvert that's been forced to become an extrovert from all this moving too.
Sure, absolutely.
But
Thanks for sharing all that.
I'm glad that you think I'm an extrovert.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
an introvert.
You play one very well. So, you don't. What the idea of the skill set that you build up over time is really intriguing to me. So, you've been here 13 years. You've built up a really different set of skills than Hank has. What do you think Brookstone has given you over that time period that's made your impact here unique and important?
I would definitely say loyalty is one of the big things. For being here for so long, I think I've grown a relationship with all of my classmates and all the teachers, and you really get a strong connection with them. And that's really something that's hard to break, especially since you've known them that long. And kind of like what Hank said with resiliency, I think with being here for so long, and when something happens, you just bounce back because you know the people who you're here with, you know what environment you're in. And so it's really easy to be able to get back into things. So,
Yeah. What have been your favorite parts of Brookstone in your time?
That's a hard one.
Well, and I will get to some questions that do include favorites, but I mean, he sort of said when Hank was articulating what made Brookstone special to him. What makes Brookstone special to you right now?
I've definitely taken a lot of classes that were interesting. Like I said, anatomy was really cool. I'm taking AP Psych right now, which is really interesting. Like today we were learning about like how to convince people like efficiently, which is interesting.
Use Jedi mind tricks is what I do.
Basically. And I would say also like the teachers here are really great. They'll always like help you in any way, and they're really good with knowing how you learn and how efficiently you learn. And you just get really good relationships with them, which I think is really important to get like good relations, and having that connection is really important.
Absolutely. Thank you. Go back to you, Hank. So you mentioned a sister who graduated from here, even though she was just here 1 year, and you have a younger brother who's also here, correct? Tell me about the family dynamic about Brookstone. How is that play out in your family outside of school? Even is Brookstone you all blue and white through and through?
Absolutely. So we always joke about this all the time with my mom, especially. So I mean, Brookstone, like I said, is such a community focused thing, but there's a thing that exists called Brookstone moms because we are such a tight group. And so my mom likes to joke about how she's like, or likes to think she's just like independent, like completely her own entity, but she's become a Brookstone mom because that's absolutely the thing. We have such a tight knit community that, the parents of the kids that go here become so close with each other. And then, they start interacting too. And they, even from our school, they make friends, but it varies much family focused. So, I mean, even after my sister left her senior year, there were already so many people when I showed up my freshman year that were like, "Oh, I knew your sister, and she was amazing," and I was able to strike up a conversation based on that. Even now, it feels like people know my family so well. Even everywhere I walk, people know that that's my brother. In the younger grade, and they know my older sister.
You also
Nukala.
look very much alike.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. We most like alike. But even from comparisons, like between, oh wow, they know us well enough to be like, oh, your brother's different than you in this way,
sure.
and things like that. But in terms of how my family outside of school and how we become a Brookstone community, I mean, my dad's number of Brookstone shirts alone should tell you how invested we are in the community.
And this sounds like the longest you've lived anywhere, too, right?
By far. Yeah, absolutely by far. I've lived here for about 4 years now. Before, it was only 2 years that I'd lived anywhere. And there are so many things that even now being so here for so long that I take for granted that I didn't have before. I mean, I have a really solid friend group that I've grown with, and it's been so amazing to see growth from the freshman year to senior year personally and in my friends as well, and see how far we've come, and seeing my relationships with other people grow from freshman year to senior year. I mean, I remember thinking about when I first walked into Brookstone my freshman year, I was terrified to go near the rotunda because it was where all like the cool seniors went. And now I show up now and I have just a sense of familiarity. Yeah, now we're the cool seniors. But I have this sense of familiarity with the school that I never had before. Like, I mean, except for the maze that to get to the podcast room back here, I felt really...
We make it as hard as possible for you.
Yeah, but I feel really familiar everywhere on campus. You know, I could give a tour, and even on the places that I didn't go to school in, the elementary school, you know, I've been through the halls. I know familiar faces there. If I, like I said, if I were to walk over to the elementary school building, I'm sure I'd see a couple of offices of people that maybe taught me or worked with me, and it's such an awesome thing to see a familiar face, you know, everywhere you go on campus, because it always feels like someone's rooting for me or happy I'm there.
No doubt. That's a great way to put it. So speaking of rooting, you guys are both athletes, and you've talked a little bit about your tennis already. I'd love to hear, Hank, about your basketball. And I say this. Well, let's hear a little bit about basketball. That's your main sport, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you play anything else?
I played baseball my freshman year. I'm playing tennis this year.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Good for you. Good for you. You stretch.
I never saw you as a tennis player, but okay.
Yeah. I am playing this year. I always wanted to, but I never made the commitment because of spring basketball, like AAU season. And this is the first year I'm not playing because you don't play as a senior.
That's right.
And so I'm really excited to play. I mean, I've played a lot with my friends throughout, but I've never played in the competitive setting. But, you know, Bo Christopher, we're hoping to play doubles, which is my goal.
The dream team.
Yes, yes,
Nice.
sir.
Yeah.
I've been working on my fist pump. Yeah, but
tell us a little about basketball, though.
Yes, sir. So I've played basketball my whole life. My mom played basketball at Lipscomb in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So we're a big basketball family. But so I played St. Luke my 8th grade year, and then 9th grade year, I started playing basketball immediately. It was super fun. You know, I started out with summer basketball with Brookstone, where you play in all these tournaments and all this practice. And, you know, looking back, I kind of did not enjoy, you know, this intense level of commitment. This, like, you know, you'd be there at 6 a.m. for like a month straight in October. And those are some of my best memories now, or even like the long hours of games. I mean, I just came back from a strong rock game yesterday where we were on the road for a long time hanging out with my teammates. But
how'd y'all do, by the way?
Oh, it was my Coach Ivy referred to it as senior night part 3. I had my season high, 17 points.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had a big win, even though we had our two other seniors, or Bo played, but he was on a little minute restriction because he was feeling bad. But Chapman was out too. But we still won, which is amazing. But we've been on a good roll. We're dealing with the right time.
I love watching you play.
Thank you.
You know, you're aggressive. You're skilled. I mean, how does your personality on the court? How does that reflect you day to day? Because you don't seem introverted on the court.
Yeah. Which, you know, ironically, Coach Ivy would yell at me more to be more vocal, because I do play point guard, which is the role where you're orchestrating the entire offense, and especially in our offense. We have roles, definitely, and mine is handling the ball. I mean, he's made that very clear. It's handling the ball, taking care of pressure, scoring when I need to. But as far as it translates, I would actually say this year it probably translates the most, because, you know, being involved in Brookstone and learning through leadership positions off the court, I'm not scared to be vocal about the direction our team needs to be moving on the court. And I think the most unique place, or the most interesting place that I would not expected that's made an impact, is my relationship with Coach Ivy. You know, he's very open about it being a player-led program, is the term he uses all the time. And so, you know, sometimes, or some games, things don't go our way, and you have to hit the drawing board and go look at, you know, what we did wrong, what we can improve. And I love being able to give feedback about what I'm seeing as a player on the court, and maybe some changes that we need to make to, you know, be more effective as a basketball team. So I love that element of leadership in basketball. I'm definitely a lot more aggressive on the court than I am in real life. I would say that, you know, that's how you have to be.
I'd be nervous right now.
Yes, sir. I think you know, actually the biggest character trait that has made the biggest impact on my basketball playing career has been the resiliency that I've been talking about. Because, I mean, we've been a second half team this year. There's been a couple times when we've been down 10 or 15, and it's very easy to be like, oh, we're down 10-15, you know, I mean, the game's over, you know, we're going to be fighting an uphill battle to get back into this game. But the thing that I've been most proud of myself is my stature and my emotion has been the same throughout the entire game. Like, I've decided this year has been my goal that for all 32 minutes of the game that I'm going to be steadfast in my mentality and, never be rattled by the way the game's going. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that this year. And it's really important as a leader, too, on the court that you're always composed and ready for action.
That's great. Ankita, composed as a tennis player is incredibly important. I enjoy watching you play too, and you're an aggressive player on the tennis court. I would say you don't leave any survivors out there. And so how are you so good at tennis? How are you able to focus like that and be the kind of player you are?
Yeah, so like you said, composure is very important for tennis because I feel like tennis is more than just a physical sport. It's like it involves a lot of mental strength. And that's something that I think I gained over time with my many years of playing tennis. I remember I was not as composed freshman year. I think
None of us were.
Yeah, I was not my mental awareness wasn't that amazing. But as I grew and as I started playing more matches and started getting more experience with practice and playing with my teammates, I think that's really helped. During matches, I just try to focus on, and this is what Ms. Tote tells us all the time, just focus on getting one ball across the net and in. Don't worry about the points and don't worry about the other person. Don't worry about your team. Just worry about you hitting the ball over the net. And I think that's really helped me because I'm only focusing on one thing, and that one thing can get you to even losing in the first set to winning in the tiebreaker. And so that's really been helpful for my team. I know also the support from my team has been really great. Everyone definitely just comes in, tries to cheer you on and tries to make you feel better even if you're losing. I definitely know once there was I was playing in a match against this really, really good girl. She was really good. And I think I was losing. And my teammates were cheering me on,
awesome.
On the bleachers. And they were like, "Oh, Ankita, you got this." And I was totally scared. I was a freshman. And I was I'm going to lose this. But I ended up winning, which was really great.
That's amazing.
So it's really that support that really gets me through it.
Yeah. That's terrific. Well, Ankita, let's start with you. I want to talk a little bit about the prefect piece. So you all are our head boy and girl prefect. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
And for those who may not understand what that is, it's sort of like presidents of the student body.
Yes.
But not. So help us understand exactly what this position is and what it means and what you do.
Yeah, so the prefect system is a student leadership committee system. There are 12 committees ranging from academics to student life or grounds and facilities. So each one really takes charge of a certain aspect of a school, and they get to make changes in those areas and help. They also have a committee of underclassmen or upperclassmen students who also get to do things within that committee. And so basically our jobs are to make sure all the committees are active and planning on doing things and being productive over the year. And our job is also to be a part of every single committee and help whenever we can. Yeah. But it's really fun. We got to go on the Link Crew trip or the freshman retreat.
In
August, which was such a fun experience because we didn't get our
COVID
freshman retreat.
Y'all were the COVID ones.
Yeah.
So you got to do it. Yay.
Yeah. So we finally got to do it. I know. I was so excited. Yeah. Going to Cap Mac was a really great experience. And it was really fun. So that was a great time. And we also got to know some of the freshmen there. So getting to know them really helped with being a leader in the school.
And do you have day-to-day obligations in this role? I mean, I feel like whenever I go to an assembly, you all are up front.
Yeah, I would say stuff like that is probably the biggest day-to-day thing. But I would say usually big events. I mean, I think a large part of the prefect system in general too is how you carry yourself within school and being a example for other people at all times. So even if I'm not explicitly doing a task at any given hour of the day, it's really important to be a good role model for what leadership looks like in our school.
Speaking my language right
Yeah.
now. That's what I do every day.
Yeah, so exactly. And so I would say that day-to-day, I mean, although there are a lot of stuff like assemblies and planning things that are day-to-day tasks, but I would say my favorite thing that we get to do is provide the student input, like student perspective input on a lot of the decisions we make. And I think that was big time over the summer, as you know, we had a new administration coming in for like new leadership in the high school, trying to re-examining our processes and the way we do things, and trying to shape those to best fit the needs of the students was awesome, a really great part of the job. And that's another thing that I'm really thankful for, that we try and build our school environment around the needs of the students. And it's most embodied by the fact that we let our student leadership take the reins on most things around here, which is why I think Brookstone has been, so successful.
Yeah. What is this year's head prefect legacy going to be? Did you all have any tangible items on your list that you were able to get accomplished this year?
We were able to introduce some guest speakers that were really cool. I know Ms. Toe has been working on getting more like interactive people for program times and getting student input from that. So we've been definitely helping with that. Other than
I would say, I think the big thing too was uniformity, and that's something that we kind of were bad about last year, and we wanted to make an improvement on this year, was that, like dress up day when this, maybe trying to, clearly communicate the expectations for whether it's, dress code or, what students should be up to. There's just a lot of ambiguity surrounding what was expected of students on some cases last year. And so we tried our best to eliminate that going into this year. And I think that's what we met a lot about this summer. It was just making sure expectations were clear for students, which is great for both parties. Teachers get less upset, students know what's expected of them.
Absolutely.
So
how important, Ankita, I'm going to ask you this, how important is the relationship between the two of you in all of this?
I mean, we've known each other for like the past 4 years.
Yeah.
So, I feel like our relationship is pretty good. We've definitely had so many classes together, so we
know each other well. Yeah. Has being in this role changed it or grown the relationship at all? Is that how important is that for the head girl and boy prefect to have that good working relationship?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty important for collaboration. Like with planning something out, I definitely contact Hank with anything we should do or we need to do. And so it's been really fun. I remember we collaborated on a slideshow during one of our program times, highlighting some of the seniors for their accomplishments. And so that was a really fun project that we got to do.
That's awesome. And
so,
that's awesome. Yeah. So if y'all didn't know each other as well, that may not have gone as well as it did.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I do think we take for granted too. I have no problem, just reaching out to run a text oh no, we need to get this done. This to do this date, or coordinating, working to do together. And I definitely think it's made us, better, perform better at what we're doing. But
That's great. So you mentioned celebrating seniors. So today was a big day for seniors, a big day for a rite of passage. It's Deliberate Life Projects. Tell us, Ankita, a little bit about what the Deliberate Life Project is, and then tell us a little bit about what you did and how your project went.
Yeah, so Deliberate Life Projects are something all seniors are required to do. You basically come up with an idea of something that maybe you're interested, or maybe you want to get more into, or maybe something you want to do in the future. And so you get to pick an idea and you contact a mentor or someone who is an expertise in that area. And you basically start over that project maybe in the summer of junior year. You start this project, you start planning it at the end of junior year. So you have a whole year to complete this. And so I was able to create a middle school science Olympiad team, like I mentioned before.
Oh, you created a middle school one.
Yes,
Cool.
Yeah, because after we did really well at the state competition last year for the high school, I had the idea of making a team in the middle school so that they could be...
The middle school has competitions also around the country? Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Awesome.
So I wanted to help them be a little bit more prepared for when they get to the high school. And I also wanted to inspire kids to be able to learn and learn about science at a younger age. And it was really exciting to see these kids like being so passionate about something they were learning or maybe a project they were building. And it was really great to see that even though this was optional, like they worked so hard and so diligently over this entire year. And
How many kids did you get?
we have 13 kids on the team.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
And I mean, is this something you imagine or hope will continue?
Yes, definitely. I know Mrs. Reynolds was my mentor, and she definitely wants to do it in the next years. I won't be here, but I definitely will get some future Science Olympiad high school students to help out and to be with them and guide them through the competitions, because I think this is really important for them, and it's a great experience.
Important for us. It's important for everybody. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no problem.
That's really cool. Hank, what about you?
Mine's a little less cool.
Oh, no, it's not.
But,
It's really cool.
I started a band with some of my
Less
Brooklyn peers.
That's crazy.
More. I need to hear more.
Yeah, so I'm a lifelong musician. I started out playing piano from a really young age, but since COVID, I've gotten really into guitar, and that's kind of taken me through different avenues, like busking in downtown Columbus. You know, you were there when I played the national anthem at our football game, and so I love music, and I'm really passionate about music, but I never really had the opportunity to play in a group setting with my peers. And so fortunately, we have a close friend of ours, Charles McPherson, who's a immaculate bass player. I mean, he's amazing. And he also just kind of fits the stereotype of a bass player too. I don't know if you've seen him before.
Absolutely does. Yeah.
He's just, he's perfect for the role.
Yeah.
And so then I also got my brother, who started playing drums this past summer, kind of coinciding with getting interested in learning a band. So under the kind of direction a little bit of Mr. Stubbs, our guitar teacher at Brookstone. We started rehearsing together. We were a true garage band, practicing in my garage at home. Neighbors probably hated it. We played at like 2-3 p.m. to be considerate of them, but it was loud. And so we practiced for a long time, for about 2-3 months. And then we put together about an hour-long set. And then we went and played at Porch Fest, which is an event in Athens, Georgia, like around the University of Georgia, that benefits the nonprofit there called Historic Athens that preserves. But there's a lot of local bands that come play, and true to the name, you just play on the porch of the house in this historic district. But it was amazing. We had a really great turnout. About 50 to I'd say like 75 people maybe showed up, and for a porch, it was really packed. Yeah. And
what's the name of your band?
So Chattahoochee. This is the best part of the whole thing. So you're combining the two things that everybody loves, the Chattahoochee and being groovy. It's the cringe was kind of, the best part of it. We got to learn to love that. But
that's what got you 75 people. They're like, we got to see this. We got to see these guys.
And ironically, too, is the band is not groovy at all. Like, we don't play any groovy songs. I think we maybe had one or two that I would describe as groovy.
All covers?
Yes, sir. All covers.
No original music.
No, sir. But I am really passionate about music, and that's something I hope to pursue in college. But we've learned, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that there is so much that goes into performing music that you would not realize just as an observer, and so it made me gain a lot of admiration for people who perform.
What's your encore song? Like what's your money song?
Our money song. We had a song. I would say the song I played today, which was "Here Comes the Sun" by the Beatles. Okay. I think everybody loves it. For a DLP, I played in the room.
Oh, you played for your DLP.
I played,
got it.
For the DLP, I gave a little demonstration just by myself. But
"Here Comes the Sun," that's a good one.
Yes, sir. So I love that song.
Everyone
loves it.
It's kind of groovy.
It is. That's true. That's groovy. That's probably the most groovy song. Yeah. It is pretty groovy. That's true. But I'd say that's probably our best song. We had a song called "Must Have Been a Ghost" that I think is our most groovy song. That we actually brought my sister in, who works for the Historic Athens Foundation, and she came and sang that song, made us a 4-person band because it's beyond my vocal talents. She had to take over.
So you're the vocal. You're the vocal talent.
Yes, sir. So Charles did sing a couple songs too, but it was kind of shared between us two.
But your sister can sing?
Yes, sir. You should see my little sister is the best singer because music kind of runs in the family. But she. Yes, sir. My older sister can too.
Good. Well, look forward to the next album.
Yes, sir. I'll let you know when it comes out.
That's awesome. Thank you all for sharing all that. All right, we got to get to these questions. You all are fast. I could talk all day, but we don't have all day. So let's get to these other questions. So, Ankita, you already mentioned loyalty. I mean, and we talk about our core values here. Is that the one that resonates most with you, or are there others?
Yeah, I definitely think like all of the All of the values are really important. I would say loyalty is definitely one of the most important. Definitely having that good relationships with your classmates and your teachers and all the faculty is really important. And it really adds to the school spirit. And it really helps with having that pride in Brookstone. I'm definitely gonna like remember my Brookstone memories forever. I'll definitely always be loyal to Brookstone. So I think that's also very important. I also think that integrity is an important thing because it's often overlooked, I feel like, as a value, but it embodies most of the other values, I would say. Like it means to respect yourself and to also respect others, treat others the way you want to be treated, having courage, having not being afraid to show who you are or to be afraid to do something or start something new. And it really means to just have honor in what you believe in and who you are.
That's great. Thank you. Hank, what about you?
I would say respect is probably my favorite of the Brookstone core values, and this kind of coincides with honor a little bit too, because I think the two are intertwined in ways. But one of the most unique things that I noticed when I first stepped on campus here is that everyone was leaving their backpack just untouched, in the quad. There's no locks on lockers or anything, and I've spent my entire childhood
clutching
doing
things.
lock back, and so people would leave their valuables, phones and things in their backpacks, and then just walk off to lunch. And the places that I had been before, that's definitely not the case at all. And that's true for most of the world. You would never just leave your backpack, in a parking lot somewhere, anywhere else. But I completely trust that, and I know for a fact that no one will mess with my stuff, or even my locker is a safe place. No one will mess with my stuff because, it comes from a place of honor, but I think we also have respect for each other, and that's really where it comes from. And so I'm so appreciative of this kind of safety that you can feel on campus because just the mutual respect that we all have for each other.
That's great. No doubt about it. We live to a higher standard here, and that's important.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. All right, favorite place on campus, Hank? Let's start with you. Besides, you're going to say Ilgis Gym, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. But
do you have another favorite place besides the gym?
Yes, sir. So I would say that surprisingly, the classroom, not necessarily in like a the learning environment as much too, but I love those conversations that I have after class with all of my teachers. And so that's my favorite place to be. Is this, like I said, even just coming from the place I came from right before here, talking with Dr. Harkey, or even, yesterday when I stayed after class with Mr. Pate a little bit, just to, catch up. You gain such a better sense of community and a sense of pride in your community, and you feel way more at home because of these relationships that you establish, with these faculty members, and it comes from, talking with them after class. And I've realized, they are my teacher and we have that professional relationship, but there is so much, our teachers have so many more dimensions than just being a teacher. They have pursued professional careers at some point. Maybe they have a lot of experience in fields. They have so much to talk about. I'm sure you've talked to Dr. Harkey too. He's a lot to talk about, but I really value those relationships.
And you invest time in them, you learn
yes,
things.
Yes, sir. And they've invested so much in me too, from building those relationships, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Favorite place on campus, Ankita?
I would definitely say like the quad area. I think we've had so many memories there, from like lunch on the quads to like graduations, or even like sometimes we have classes like outside near the quad, and that's really those are amazing memories. And the bell tower is like the biggest symbol of Brookstone. Like when you think of Brookstone, you think of the bell tower.
Yep.
And so it's really such a big part of like kind of what Brookstone is. And it's always like such a picturesque place to just like sit there.
How excited are you to walk across the stage in front of that bell tower in a few months?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. It seems like so far away, but it's only in like 2 or 3 months.
Oh, it's not far.
Like it's not far at all. Yeah. It's kind of scary, but it's gonna be great. I feel
so you get to be in your favorite place.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're getting old.
Too old.
Well, Ankita, let's start with you on this one. What's a moment you could share with the audience where you felt particularly proud to be a part of the Brookstone community?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I would definitely say like at the sporting events, I definitely like at tennis tournaments.
Do you remember one in particular?
Yes, I think we usually host the regional tournaments here, and whenever I'm playing, like kids who have their study halls or like a free period come and they like cheer you on. Sometimes like the other people get like really angry, but I find it like really comforting that people are gonna be there for you, and it's really good to see some familiar faces like up there, and seeing them smile and like cheering you on whenever you win a point or saying like boo when you lose a point. But it's a great feeling to know that someone is there and someone's looking over you.
Literally.
Yeah, someone's definitely looking over you. Yeah. But yeah, that's a great time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Hank? What's one moment?
Yeah, as I was thinking about that, it's, the most prideful I've ever been in the community comes from a time that you would not have thought of. So, unfortunately, we had a pretty heartbreaking loss, Brookstone community last year, with losing Miss Branham, which she was very loved in the community. Yeah. But I felt, after, great ceremony for her. But what I was so prideful about, in the weeks after, obviously some grief and tragedy there, but the way that the Brookstone community was able to unite around her, and it showed me how loved she was, in the community. And I was almost prideful that, that we are that interconnected, and that, while we were acknowledging, the contributions that she's made to Brookstone, it just showed me how loved each one of us, are at this community, and how much each individual matters, and contributes something special to Brookstone. And so I felt especially prideful then because, like I said, it contributed to the feeling that I was, at home,
Sure.
that this was a home.
I was very lucky to get to know her, albeit not as well as a lot of people, but wow, that's a great moment. I appreciate that. Okay, so maybe along the same lines, who are your favorite teachers or coaches? And I know that's hard because you love them all, but who are the ones that have made maybe the better way to say it is who's made the most impact in your life and your time here?
Yes, sir. So I would say I've really enjoyed my relationship with Dr. Harkey and Mr. Pate too, which I know you've been very close with. But who I actually really want to highlight for this is, I have an amazing head coach, Coach Ivy too, as you know. But the person I've actually been so thankful for that's been consistent as my assistant coach throughout high school is LJ. Yeah. As you know, I'm his coach LJ, and I met him in 8th grade. And
he was coaching at St.
He was
Luke,
coaching
right?
at St. Yeah, he's still the head coach at St. Luke right now. But he's always been the assistant coach at Brookstone. And I think it was something about how, he's a younger guy. He's like 26 now, I think, but he's always been younger. So he's been very relatable with my age group, but he's just been the perfect role model for, the kind of person I want to grow into. And, even my parents would agree. He's been so close to my family, coaching my brother as well. But I'm so thankful because he has been, just been the perfect role model for all the, like I said, just the kind of person I want to be when I get older. I said before, but
that's awesome. I appreciate hearing that. Thank you. Ankita, what about you?
Yeah, I would definitely say like all of the teachers are so amazing here. I think we would both agree Miss Lumsden's definitely.
Oh, I forgot to leave her out. She's the
top.
best. She's the best.
Miss Lumsden's so great. I think I've had her for the last 3 years. She teaches chemistry and AP Environmental, and I just love her. She's been like a parent to me these past years, and even though her tests and her classwork is really challenging, that's actually helped me grow as a student. Yeah. And I've definitely gotten more resilient, and I've definitely gotten better as a student academically throughout those years with her. And she's definitely encouraged me to do these things like Science Olympiad and some like competitions with science. And so it's really been an amazing time. She's always there. She's always supportive. Like once I did really bad on a test, and I know it was bad.
We've been there.
It was like not good. And I went to her like in tears. I was like, Ms. Lumsden, I can't do this. And she was like, Ankita, it's okay. But she was always there to help me if I didn't understand anything or if I needed anything. And so that's always been a great time with her.
That's awesome.
It's funny because that's such like a shared experience. Like everyone who's taken her classes knows. It's so amazing that she teaches the hardest subjects and she's known as the hardest teacher. but she's still so admired and respected.
Yeah.
And that just shows you how great of a teacher she is.
Absolutely.
Because it's so hard to be liked after, you know, being her being the teacher that gave you like a terrible grade on a test for the first time, you know?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Okay, we got a few more questions to go through. Ankita, what's one thing that should never change about the school?
So I would say the opportunities here. I think there are so many things that you can do at Brookstone that you wouldn't be able to do at other schools. Like having a leadership position as a prefect. Like I've never seen another school that had these types of opportunities. And you also you can make a club, you can be in a club. And I know those are like, you can do anything in those and you can be really productive. And those are really fun. We also provide a lot of service opportunities that I really like. Ms. Blackman always sends out emails saying, oh, you can do this to help out the community or the school. And I think that's really great. That's she's encouraging a service-oriented community at Brookstone. And that's really important for now and in the future. I definitely know I definitely want to do servant leadership in college and in the future. So Brookstone really provides that foundation for that.
Yeah, awesome. What about you think?
Yeah, I think the Brookstone fosters the environment that allows students to be multidimensional, and that is probably, you know, the thing that I would say that never needs to go away, because you know, a lot of times at other schools, you know, if you're a basketball player, you're a basketball player, or you know, if you're a theater kid, you do theater, then that's what you do. That's your full-time thing. That's what you do year-round. Yep. But everyone in the play probably plays a sport. You know, everyone that plays a sport probably does something in the arts field. And every student is, you know, always involved in something. You know, you're never just a student here. And that's what makes, you know, Brookstone students so unique. And I'm so thankful for that, because, you know, I've found other passions. Like, for example, you know, I talked about music earlier. I wouldn't have been able to explore my passion for music as much as I have been able to, you know, if I was just a basketball player or just a student as much.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Good ones. Okay, so quickly, favorite tradition?
I would say it was the senior bike ride this year. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. I would not have guessed that. You know, like wasn't on my like calendar before we did it, and it was freezing cold too. My hands were about to like thaw off. Yes, but it was so much fun. I mean, it was such like an obsure time, you know, too. Like, you know, we met up at Winbrook and then all biked down together. But we just biked down the hill at full speed. You know,
like 20-degree weather.
Yeah,
nobody got hurt. That was amazing.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Ankita, what about you?
I would definitely say the alumni walk. Like, for being here for the last 13 years, I've seen 13 generations of Brookstone students transition into graduates.
That's right.
And I would always, in lower school, I would be looking at these gigantic high schoolers and being like, that would never be me. Like, it's going to be so long until I'm there. And it's crazy because now we are there, like, in a couple of months. And it's really just like a full circle moment for me, from being in lower school and watching them to being part of it. And I think that's such a special day for all Brookstone students, just to come together and celebrate these graduating seniors. And I think it's really such an amazing and beautiful part of Brookstone.
No doubt. Thank you. What about a book that's been important to you, Ankita?
My favorite book of all time is To Kill a Mockingbird. We read it as a 9th grade summer reading book. But I loved it so much, I think I read it like 3 more times after that. And it's really such a beautiful story with the beautiful like themes and meanings. The characters are so like lovable, and you get to really have that personal connection with them. And the story is amazing. I think I watched the movie with my mom, and it's like amazing.
The old movie?
The old movie, it's really old.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of her favorite books too. So
that's really cool.
That's
really
really
cool. Awesome. What about you?
I would say mine, my favorite book was Les Mis. So I read it in my 9th grade year.
Okay.
And, you know, 8th, 9th grade year is when you're kind of forming a lot of opinions about the world. And in this book, there's so many dilemmas that, you know, reinforce the idea that the world is not black and white. You know, there's so many, like I said, dilemmas and, you know, tough issues like that. So reading that book, you're forced to consider all these crazy situations. You know, even in the beginning, I know the most famous from the book is when Jean Valjean, or Monsieur Madeleine in the book, steals a loaf of bread. And, you know, everyone knows about that thing. But when you're in 9th grade and you're starting, like, you're forced to consider these nuanced issues, it makes you think a lot more about the world around you, and it definitely played a role in forming a lot of my worldviews.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, both of you. Okay, Hank, start with you. I don't even know I feel like you've shared everything. What's one thing we might not know about you from looking at your resume?
Might not know about me from looking at my resume. I would say maybe how much I enjoy language,
okay.
which actually I think, I really don't talk about that a lot, but I lived in Germany for a long time.
Yeah.
I gained what I would say is fluency because I'd been there for so long, which I wish I'd kept up with more because, I've lived back in the States for
It's a
about
hard
3 or 4
language.
years. Yeah, it is. But you'd be surprised. It actually has a lot of similarities with German. But now I'm learning French, and I have Swiss relatives that speak French, and they've aided me in that process. But
awesome.
I really love learning languages, and we have such an amazing language department where, people take trips every summer to go immerse themselves in the host language. And I've had just amazing language teachers.
great.
I think that's what's really, fostered my interest in, because I learned German because out of necessity, like being there, but I've gained a passion for French because of the awesome French teachers I've had since I've been here.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Fantastic. Ankita, what about you?
Yeah. I would definitely say if you know me as a person, you would definitely know I love playing the Wordle.
Oh, good
That's
one. Okay.
one of my, I do.
But you don't
the
put that
Wordle-
on your resume.
No, I wouldn't. But I do the Wordle every single day. If you see my stats, I've done it over 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't joke about spoiling it with her. That's really serious.
You cannot spoil
it's a big
it.
deal.
But yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm gonna ask one last question, and then we'll get you all on with your days because I know we got practices and all sorts of stuff going on. What are your hopes and dreams and goals for Brookstone long term? You're graduating, but what do you hope to see in the future for Brookstone School, Ankita?
Yeah, so I feel like Brookstone has really it's been more than a school to me. It's been like a home. And I don't think I've ever had a place where I was excited to come to every single day. Like, if you ask my parents, like over the summer, after like 2 weeks, I'm like, I'm ready to go back to school. I just want to come back and see my teachers and see my friends.
Yeah.
And it's really the people who make the school, and the teachers and my classmates have really made this experience really great. And everyone has just felt like family to me because we have such a close-knit, tight community. And I just hope that Brookstone can provide that home and that feeling of comfort to students in the future.
That's great. Thank you. I hope so too.
Yeah. I would say something similar. As Brookstone continues to grow, as it has, looking at pictures from 40 years ago, it's a completely different school, and I hope it continues to grow in the same direction. But I hope that same sense of community is maintained, as it grows, because that is what makes this place so special. I've harped on that so much, but it truly is just the interconnectedness between the people is something that is what makes Brookstone, and I hope it stays.
Awesome. Me too. Well, thank you both so much for this.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
This has been a real treat for me, and I'm sure for our listeners too. And who do we have to thank for letting you all out of class?
Mr. Brown.
Yeah, Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown.
Coach Brown.
Thank
yeah.
you, Mr. Brown, as well, for letting him come early. This was really important, so we could squeeze this in on a really busy day.
Yeah.
Congratulations on being done with your deliberate life projects.
Thank you.
And good luck with basketball the rest of the season. I know you guys have high hopes, and I know you guys have high hopes for tennis too.
Yes.
And really look forward to watching you play this spring. So
Thank you.
So thanks again, and thank you all for joining us for the most recent installment of Be the One podcast. We'll see you again soon.